All right, joining me here is Hernando RC. I called up Hernando. I said, hey, Hernando, I haven't talked to you in a while. You got any updates? Oh, he always has updates. Hernando, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Brannon. It's an honor to be back to you with your show.
Well, thank you. I want to show this to you real quick. I mentioned it to Leo Holman a while ago. Here is the Daily Signal. D.C. holds training sessions for non-citizens to vote. We're getting more and more reports on this. But when I called you tonight and asked you for an update, you said, oh, wait a minute, Brandon, it's not just the voting. They're registering them at the border and they come over. What are they registering them for?
They are registering for work permits, Brandon.
So
once these illegals
they can take jobs from Americans?
Yes, once they get processed, they get photo imaged. And the new thing now is that they're telling these illegals that they're going to use that photo when they got arrested for crossing illegally. They're going to use it for work permits. That same photo.
And who is doing this? Is this the government? Is it NGOs? Who's doing this?
This is the photographs are taken by ICE, for sure.
So it's the government doing it?
Yes, sir. And they're facilitating the process too, so that they can get work permits quicker. So from the get-go, the minute they arrive here, sir.
And now, when you speak to them at the border and they are getting these, what are you asking them? What are some of the common questions that maybe you'd be asking them to find out where they're going and what trade they're going to do? And do you ask them, hey, are you going to get liability insurance? You're going to get insurance so in case you break someone's window while you're doing some work, or are you going to pay taxes? What kind of questions do you ask them?
Well, I asked the regular questions: where you're from, how long did it take you, how much did you spend on your journey up here, where are you going from here, do you have a sponsor, are you a cartel member, are you a member of the Tren de Aragua? And I've been asking them straight in their faces, then they run away from me when I ask them that, especially the young men. But they've also they're also being enrolled by NGOs at the American Replacement Center by Obamacare workers. They're enrolling them in Obamacare.
Obama?
Yeah.
Oh, my. I'm sure are familiar with the fact that there are reports out. We have been talking, and reading some of the reports from some experts over in Great Britain that are stating that some of these illegals, and they say they have proof, car tags, whatnot, that some of these folks coming over, the illegal invaders into Great Britain and maybe perhaps into America, are actually UN soldiers. So here we're looking at these military-age males, and we're thinking, maybe they're CCP soldiers, maybe they're from Islamic countries to carry out war here in America. But there are some researchers that we have quoted online, some very credible people, who we can verify, the old blue check on X. Right. And they're saying that these may indeed be UN soldiers that are coming here and being prepositioned. What are your thoughts on this news? Have you heard this? Do you believe it? Is it credible?
At this point, everything is believable. A conspiracy to become fact is only 6 months. However, in my sector, I'm getting the low of the economic scale. So I've actually asked, that's one of the new questions I asked these young men. Have you been trained in Venezuela? Because 40% of the illegals I get are from Venezuela. Have you been trained by the Iranian Revolution Guard? Because Iran and Venezuela are like this. And to see what kind of response I'm getting, I've actually interviewed a few ex-military Venezuelan people, men and women, and they say no, that has not happened. So that's the truth. That's what I'm getting. I don't handle California or Arizona, where a lot of the Arabs and Chinese. That's a different sector, Brandon.
But it wouldn't shock you if some of these people coming through were UN soldiers being sent in.
It would not shock me. Actually, one of my other independent journalists in California, San Diego, One Eye on a Storm on X, she found military dog tags from a Middle Eastern man was found at the border just 2 days ago. So we're starting to see, IDs and dog tags, and nothing goes past me. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to happen in America.
Yes. What are some of the more crucial points you want to bring to the audience since you were last on that you're seeing that we should know about?
Okay, well, we just got word that there's chatter about El Chapo, who's in federal prison in Colorado for a life sentence, is given not orders, but he's given these U.S. troops a warning at the border that if they don't give him back asylum, not asylum, but extradition back to Mexico, he's going to create havoc like we've never seen before at the border if he's not extradited back to Mexico. So that's big news as well. That's going down. No one's talking about that.
How involved are the cartels on the border with terrorists?
So the cartels, all different families. There's many families at the cartel, right? They call them what do they call them? Plazas. They run the show. The czar is not Kamala Harris. Is not the czar of the border. El Chapo is the czar of the border, and so they're threatening now because they know it's an election year. The Mexican cartel they are terrorists. They are a terrorist organization. They're the largest, most well-funded, organized terrorist organization. They have military-style equipment and ammunition and arms, and they're going to be giving the troops an ultimatum: get them out of prison, or there's going to be havoc. That's coming.
We showed video a few months ago of an IRGC video showing what looked like could be the deserts of Arizona on the Mexico-Arizona border, could be maybe Texas and Mexico border, but it was made to look like that. And there was a collection of IRGC guys with each one having big drones, and they let these drones take off. And then in their demo video, they showed the drones exploding into a crowd, was cut out cardboard of humans. And as they exploded, we slowed it down. You could see the shrapnel spreading across the field there, and of course hitting these bodies, so making it much more deadly. And there seemed to be the warning that they are going to use drones maybe on our border to attack U.S. towns and cities. Right. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think they've learned a big lesson during the Israeli war with the Hamas, with that attack with Iran. Yeah, I think this is going to be the future of warfare. Is going to be drones, and we saw that already with Iran and Israel. I don't have any intel confirmation on those drones on the south of the border, but that is definitely the new weapon of choice now, Brandon.
New weapon of choice. All right, I like to ask a lot of our guests. Well, let me ask you this: talk about weapons. We were reading a lot about Glock switches coming over. Thousands of Glock switches coming in, shipped in by the CCP. And then we were reading that the drug cartels were smuggling these in by the box load as well. What are your thoughts on these Glock switches that take a semi-automatic and turn it into an automatic?
Yeah, that's what the cartels use when they're having their own little conflicts between their own families. They use strictly automatic weapons, and so it's their MO now. They don't use semi-automatic weapons. Everybody knows that. They use automatic.
All right. I like to ask all of my guests from time to time, most of them that have expertise in various areas like yours that is applicable. What do you think is coming this fall when it comes to the election? Do you see Donald Trump being reelected? Do you see illegals voting, or at least maybe even them being registered to vote? Maybe they don't show up to vote, but maybe their name is in the system and a computer system votes for them. I've been warning, of course, since before the election of 2020, that I believe the intelligence arena has practiced stealing elections overseas for years. Jesse Helms was warning about that in the Washington Times in May of '84. I have a friend who was with the NSA that said, you are so over the target, you don't realize how over the target you are when you talk about the intelligence arena stealing elections overseas for years, and now they've honed it and practiced it, and they can do it here and have done it here. What are your thoughts about using these illegals to vote and then someone voting for them? I mean, do you really think most illegals would have the courage to show up at a polling place and actually vote? I mean, if so, what percentage could you put one to it? Or would you agree with me that getting them registered vote is so they can put more phantom voters in the register and then have a computer system vote for them? What are your thoughts?
Well, that's a good observation. When I interview these illegals, Brandon, the last thing on their mind is who are they going to vote for in November? They don't even know.
Of course,
they don't even know the policies. You know, they're just trying to survive at the point I meet them. So really, the last thing they want to talk about is who's going to run for president and who they're going to vote for. It's not. I don't see it. I mean, I think maybe for the 2028 election, it may be a play, but I don't see it for this cycle. Now, whether they're registering them, well, they're registering them for Obamacare. So obviously, they're putting some list together. The Democrats, the left, are very smart and very organized that way. In terms of your question on what's going to happen in the next 6 months, 5 months before the election, something heavy in my heart tells me that they're going to try to either hurt Donald Trump or something nefarious along those lines. His airplane was struck last week. So I pray that doesn't happen, but I don't see election fraud through illegal aliens. I see more of a cyber attack, or maybe even El Chapo creating havoc at the border, where they have to call in as an emergency. They call in the what do you call that when
like a state of emergency.
Right, state of emergency related to the border, but I think it may be related to the cartel and trying to get El Chapo out of federal prison.
We had, I don't know, 5 or 6 U.S. senators that went down onto the border and then gave a press conference, and we showed that a few months ago, saying that they had been briefed there, and they're finding explosives, EIDs, on the border, small explosives the size of cannonballs. Are you hearing anything from your research or your friends who are in other sectors, like you mentioned in California, other places, about explosives being found?
No, sir, I have not. I have not heard any chatter about that. Lately, I've been just focusing on the NGOs and their grift and, what these CEOs are getting paid. That's been my attention in the last 2 weeks.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that. You've put that on your X account. I'll go to that here if I can find it real quick, because you actually put that up there. You want to speak to that real quick?
Well, I'm going on the offense now. I'm tired of being on the defense with these NGOs. I'm going to get in their faces. I plan to go visit their offices here in San Antonio because they're headquartered here. And the American people demand answers. We're tired of this. Enough is enough. These NGOs are getting, with the last Speaker Johnson approving $700 million in government contracts, grants to all these NGOs. It's open for business for another year. So these NGO CEOs are making $300, $700, up to $1 million a year for a 40-hour work week. So we're going to be focusing on spotlighting these NGOs, and we're going to shame them until we stop funding these people. Yes.
Well, I just found your Twitter account, and there you go. U.S. Fed government is funding invasion of the United States with your tax dollars, and you're talking about the CEO of United Way, and I guess you went and got his tax records, and you're posting this online.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is... Yeah. And I guess this is not the only guy you're going to be writing about, right?
No, I already did one about a month ago on the CEO of Invaders. His name is Chip. He makes $700,000 a year. His Invaders organization, the last 3 years, each year, close to $1 billion a year. $1 billion. This is one NGO, $1 billion the last 3 years, because they're working with the HHS in the contracts with the unaccompanied alien children. Those are children over 500,000 during this year of invasion that come through the border without any parents. So that's the golden contract. And so I'm spotlighting an Invaders family, it's called. So yeah, I'm going after them.
Good for you. All right, let's show your. Let me show your Twitter handle again. I moved away from it to get queued up for something else. Let me go back to it.
No worries.
Where did I? Well, let me go back to it because I want to show it. So let me go to. I go to X. I just type in Hernando RC,
Yes,
and then it pops up pretty quick here. And let's see, Hernando RC. Let's show his Twitter feed again because I want to show so folks can follow him. There it is. All right. Follow him at Hernando RC. It's at HERNANDOARCE at Hernando RC. You can follow him on X. Was Twitter, now called X, and read about what he's up to. That's what I went to today to look at, see what my friend Hernando was up to. And I'm like, I got to call Hernando and get an update. So there you go. Follow him on X. Hey, Hernando, thank you for all the work that you're doing, bringing us this information. A lot of us, I can't go down there and do all that. I'm stuck at a news desk. But I really appreciate all you're doing, Hernando.
Well, it's my honor. And remember, I do this, Brannon, for God and country.
Excellent. Thank you, Hernando. Have a great weekend.
You too. God bless you.
Hernando RC checking in. You can follow him at Hernando RC on X. Now, if you appreciate all we're doing, here we go, folks. WVWFoundation.com. We appreciate your support so we can continue to shove out free broadcasting just like this. The cost of the guys in the control room, the bandwidth, the AC to keep the servers cool on all the equipment. Folks, we had a machine go out the other night, took us down off air. Took Logan about 45 minutes to find which piece of equipment in the 2 control rooms it was. I don't know how he does it. He's brilliant. And it was a $2,000 piece of machine, kaput, gone. Had to spend the money to replace that. How do we produce free TV with all these expenses? One way is by you, well, doing business with the satellite company, worldviewtalk.com, Melissa House BG, or just making a contribution at our foundation that helps us as a major sponsor for free programming. WVWFoundation.com. May God save America. Take care.